Okay, welcome everyone. Looks like we're live right now. This is the March 5th already. Gosh, already in the third month of 2017. March 5th, 2017, uGameHub, FireFan, Google Hangout for this Sunday here at 1 p.m. Central Time in the United States. I have with me Mr. John Gribbett and Richard Beck. Richard, how are you doing, sir? John, how are you?
Good.
Great.
Okay, good. Glad you guys could join us. And both of y'all I know have been traveling under the weather and family and other things. And I'm sure the fans watching now are glad to see you, all three of us, on here together. Today's topic, here at uGameHub.com for today, this Sunday, is going to be the NCAA tournament. And we're not going to make it a real long one today. We're going to talk about the bracket, when we're going to have our bracket up, on the website, and talk about a few special teams that are going to make it, and one particular conference to really watch. And I'll get into that here in just a minute. We'd like to welcome you viewers for checking in with us today, whether you're watching this live or on replay, or even possibly listening on one of the internet radio stations we broadcast on. Thanks for taking the time to check in with us. We'll get you some good content here in just a minute. We do these hangouts once a week, this time period, Sunday at 1 p.m. Central Time here in the United States. We keep it for a half an hour, 20 minutes or so, and depending on the amount of content we have. Now, the NFL season's over. We've discussed that in the previous hangouts, and we're on to NBA basketball. And primarily now, we're going to focus on the NCAA tournament. March Madness is what it's called, and it is madness. And John and Richard, both you guys, I'm sure can confirm, that in the years past, in the many years that we've watched, this, in my 35 years, buzzer beaters, and you never expect them. You got Kansas, you got Duke, you got these, these elite teams that let some of these teams hang, and if they're behind by 5 points, with less than a minute to go, they got a legitimate chance of winning. And nothing scares me more to have picked a team, like a Duke and the Florida Gulf Coast or some, Butler or somebody, has them, by 2 points with less than a minute left, or within 2 points with less than a minute left. In my opinion, that's just a kiss of death, for the school, because if they go on to win the game, they're jittery throughout the rest of the tournament.
It's the funnest time in basketball for the whole season. It is it's exciting. It's buzzer beaters. It's half court shots. It's just underdogs. It is so much excitement during the March Madness. It just makes it all worthwhile.
Now, it officially kicks off this coming Saturday, I think, the 11th? No, the 12th, actually.
Yeah, I think Selection Sunday is next Sunday.
Yeah, it's the 12th. And so I think there's a play-in game on Tuesday, a couple of play-in games on Tuesday and Wednesday, and then the official, tournament starts. Well, I mean, it actually starts in the play-in games. But we'll get on to that in just a minute. But we are going to have a bracket up on the website. It goes up on the website. It'll go up probably on Saturday. And then it'll go on Sunday or Monday after the teams have been selected. And there's some teams we'll talk about here in just a minute. And there's quite a few good ones. Richard, I saw down in your neck of the woods this Florida Gulf Coast.
Yeah.
And Richard, I think you've seen this one too. These guys are starting to come alive, and they're the St. Mary's of the East Coast. And, I'm not sure how they're going to play out, but they're one of these teams that they have to win. They're in these situations. A lot of these lower level teams, the tier 2, 3, and 4 level teams, that they have to win their tournament to get in. That's the only way they can get in. Their record is not good enough, but they're peaking at the right time. And Krzyzewski at Duke is a master at this, where, he'll easily give up a loss at the beginning of the season, to get a formula right with players, so that they peak at the end of the season, like you see them doing now. And There's a few other teams in there. Are you watching any one particular team there, Richard, at all?
Just to kind of like a little bit on the North Carolina, Kansas, battle.
Yeah.
That's been about the size of it. But yeah, the Florida one, amazing.
I've been watching this tournament for many, many, many years, and I cannot remember when a 4 seed or higher. I think I remember saw an 8 seed make it into the Final Four, but it's not very common that the top 4 seeds make it in, into the Final Four. I think that's happened maybe one time in the last 5 or 6 years, where the top seed, the number 1 seed, makes it from that region, and all 4 number 1 seeds were in the Final Four. That's only happened like one time in the last 5 or 6, 7 years, But usually it's 1 through 4. So one of the top 4 teams, and just like you said, Richard, those North Carolina Dukes that maybe ranked third in their bracket, don't make the number 1 seed, third bracket, number 3 team or something in their bracket, but they actually knock off everyone to get up to the to the invite. So, we'll see there. John, how about you? You watching any particular team at all, or any favorite team there?
Being in SEC country, obviously at this time of the year, and only probably this time of the year, do I pull for Kentucky. Kentucky has certainly got the legacy. They've got a very good team, although they're not as good this year as they have been in the past. But I'm in SEC country, so we were pulling for Tennessee to make the dance, but they're not going to. It looks like Vanderbilt probably will, because they beat Florida yesterday I think they beat them by 2 points at the end of the game. But the perennial favorite will be Kentucky. And, this coming Wednesday, the SEC tournament starts in Nashville. So it'll be pretty exciting times around Music City with all the fans in town. But Kentucky's kind of like in Alabama in football. They carry the mantle of the SEC when it comes to basketball. So, I certainly pull for them in the tourney.
Well, Tennessee can make it in the tournament if they win their, conference tournament there. Is it likely? Rick
No,
Barnes.
That's not likely.
I'm actually a fan of his. He's from Texas, and he's a good coach, but, there's one thing I like about in football, Stoops from Oklahoma. These kids really need to be yelled at. You can't look at them and go, "Hey, that was a good job. You can do better next time." They need to get it, and they need to hear it. And they need to get rattled. They need to dig deep and find it.
Well, Tennessee's biggest problem, as far as making it into the postseason, is they don't have any bigs. I mean, their biggest guy is like 6'6". So they're a small lineup. They're when they're hot, they can shoot the lights out of it. But when you start to come up against the Kentuckys and the North Carolinas and the Dukes and all of those kind of teams that got, they have 4 or 5 players that are going 6'11" or better. It's just, as they say sometimes in basketball, you cannot coach height. You know what I'm saying? So, if you got it, if you're tall, if you're long, as they say, that's difficult for a team like a Tennessee to be able to match up in any way for the entire ball game.
No, I agree, and I'm sure Richard, you do as well. And I think the conference to look at this year is the ACC conference.
I think you're right.
I think you're going to you may have all 4 teams come out from the ACC. Depending on where they're put. And when the tournament starts, which bracket they go into, because you're going to have 10 or 12 ACC teams out of 17 make it into this tournament. Mm-hmm. And any one of them on a given day can beat the other.
And that's kind of the moniker for the ACC. They are always tough in basketball. Yeah. Always.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting. A couple of sleepers. You got any sleepers at all you're looking at?
I have some teams that I hope that make the dance that can. MTSU, which is out of Murfreesboro, has got to have I think they have a pretty good chance to making the dance, how deep they will go. And, we have Belmont University here in Nashville that, they're certainly a small conference team. They're not tall, but they seem to be able to make it to the NCAA and have in the last 2 or 3 years. Now, they don't go very deep, but either one of those teams are the kind of teams that sometimes upset, one of the teams as you were talking about just a few minutes ago. I mean,
Yeah.
they come out of nowhere, but they're 3-point shooting teams. They can fill it up from the outside, and 3-point, that's the great equalizer in a basketball game.
Yeah, I've got a couple teams I've been watching throughout the season and been following just a little bit when I have time to look into it. And I do like the Florida Gulf Coast team. I mean, that team, I don't think it's as good as it's been in the years past, but we'll see what they do, if they make it into the tournament or not. They got to win their conference, I think, to make it in. A couple of these other teams as well, but I really like Nebraska. Nebraska's got a good team. It's a sleeping team, and nobody's heard of them. Nobody knows of them. I think if they make it in, they'll do well. And the other team I really like is Wisconsin Green Bay. And this team is really good. I mean, really good.
Yeah.
They'll definitely make it in. And I could see them in the Sweet 16, maybe in the Elite 8. They're that good. And they play very good under pressure. And they're a high-scoring team. They love to run and gun. But they'll play down in the 50s if they have to, and work their shots. But they like to run and gun, and they play great under pressure. Really, really good under pressure. Every time I've watched them play, the games have been tight, 88, 89, stuff like that. And at the end, it's Wisconsin Green Bay by 6 or 7 because they're so good with their free throws, and 3 points. So, that's kind of one of my sleeper teams is Wisconsin Green Bay. There's a couple others I'm looking at, and when our bracket comes out, it'll show all that, and how further they go into the tournament. But again, it's matchups. How they match up. And you never know. You have Duke matching up against a Notre Dame or a Gonzaga going up against even a Florida.
Right.
And the matchups just really, really difficult to get through. So
well, as much as I pull for Kentucky in the big dance here, but Kentucky has had they've been behind in almost every game for a lot of the first half. I mean, they played when they played against Vanderbilt the other day. Vanderbilt was up by 20-something points in the first half. You can't do that in the NCAA tournament. And so that's, as much as I'd love to see somebody like a Kentucky advance, I think you're going to see them to be in actually one of the early casualties if they play that kind of basketball, because you can't spot a team that many points.
Yeah, I mean, look, you got 64 teams in a tournament. I've always said, told my children that, in any kind of tournament, soccer, basketball, whatever, you can get past the second game, you have a legitimate shot of winning the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because things are not only moving in your way, but you also have momentum as well. So, it's, I can easily see Duke, North Carolina, Kentucky, even UCLA and Oregon all dropping out after the first round, getting beat the first round. But, we'll see. I mean, who they're matched up with, but, and location wise. But, like you said earlier, I mean, it's one of the funnest times of the year, to sit at a bar and have a beer and also while we're in our offices doing our regular, work, all of a sudden you flip, on a channel and TV in the background, you got a game going on Wednesday at 2:00 in the afternoon.
That's right. That's right.
All of a sudden you say, well, the hell with this work, and
that's right.
I'll get to this next week or something, or, And
Yep.
I know Richard agrees with that as well too. So
Yeah.
anyway, next week's topic is going to be the actual tournament itself. So we're just going to be Selection Sunday. We'll have our mock-up up, and go over a little bit of that, and I'll probably just deal with the top seed 4 teams, and then go from there. But see how we do. We pick those. But the following week, obviously, we'll be in round 1, round 2, and that's the whole month of March is going to be March Madness. And as we've said before here, at uGame website here, in these hangouts we do here at uGameHub.com is designed specifically to score points for the FireFan app. And as we've mentioned many times, both John, Richard, and myself, the doing the pregame, is the most important. If you want to rack up some points, get some some yardage there and some tickets and everything else, it goes along with the FireFan app. Then you got to do the pregame and do the pregame for every game that day. And once things start really going, do the NBA, do the NCAA, do the soccer, do the NFL, Major League Baseball, everything, the pregame, that's will get you your most points. So anyway, that's all I had. You guys have any closing comments or anything?
No, just looking forward to March Madness. So let's get the show on the road.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was going to say we've got 68 games being played before Saturday this week. So, I mean, that's huge, folks. I mean, just keep your apps running.
There we go. We'll see how these tournaments go out, like you say, this week, and see who makes it in, who doesn't make it in. And Selection Sunday will be a lot of fun, too. And we'll have a pretty good idea at our hangout next week, on Sunday, what those teams are going to be. So thanks for checking in with us. Viewers today, whether you're watching this live or on replay, we do these hangouts once a week. Sunday, this time period, 1 o'clock to 1:30, Sunday afternoons, Central Time here in the United States. And like I said, whether you're watching live or on replay or even listening on one of the radio stations we broadcast on the internet, thank you for checking in with us. Both John, Richard, and myself, thank you. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, whether it be golf, tennis, or basketball or viewing. Stay safe, stay dry, and we'll see you next week where the topic will be Selection Sunday for March Madness. So thank you, everyone. Take care.